What's up? What's up, fellas? What's up, people? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Road to Legacy podcast on a Sunday. Good old Sunday.
Yes.
I am one of your hosts, Donald from the BX All Day.
All right.
And I am
Live.
I am one of your other
I
co-hosts,
can't
man.
hear anybody. Why can't
Oh,
I hear anybody?
oh yeah, that's right. Just mess up the flow like an objection in a courtroom with a lawyer making his case. You can hear us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. How you feeling, Doc? You good?
I'm great. It's been a busy day. I just finished filming.
Okay.
Like 2 seconds ago.
Okay. So this is introduce yourself, man, to the people. You're the second co-host now.
Hey, I'm Martin Small, Road to Legacy podcast extraordinaire. Great guy. I'm just ready to have a great conversation with my brothers here who are going to kick it off, and we're going to have a great conversation today.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man. It is Sunday, and Curtis and I are rocking our Sunday
Stone Note.
fresh. Yes, sir. Stone Note.
I was out in the field today, so I couldn't just put on our stuff. I just literally got in. If I didn't get on here right now, then I would have not been able to get on here. So I'm still getting myself together.
Yeah, I just got in a few minutes ago and it got set up. I know I was coming from Queens, but I didn't introduce myself. I'm Curtis.
I like that, Stono. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, man. We fly out here representing the largest rebellion in British North America. I am one of your other co-hosts, brother Curtis Reed. Brother Curtis Reed, the Black Packer. And welcome back to the road, y'all. We on the road to Legacy Podcast. Going in on the Black Church today. But go ahead, Donald. Take it away.
I just was welcoming everybody in. It's good to see all of y'all faces on this nice and frigid Sunday evening. I'm not sure who's pinging off, but yeah. So today we're back with another episode of Road to Legacy podcast. And today we are going to be talking a little bit about the Black church, and we are also going to be talking about food in the spirit. So Oprah calls her Sunday Super Soul Sundays, but we're not gonna call our Super Soul Sundays. We just call it, I don't know.
It's just
Sunday.
Sunday dinner. It's just Sunday dinner, man.
Sunday dinner.
Sunday dinner for thought. Sunday food for thought. All that.
Curtis said all that.
Sunday food for thought. Hey, so Doc,
describe stuff. Go ahead.
How was your day today, Doc?
It's excellent, man. I mean, today we RSL is promoting nonprofits that need help, and we do it pro bono right now, which is very difficult because you got to put people together without a budget. But it's been going okay. We spoke to a young man today. His name is King. He's actually, his father was incarcerated for a long time, and the only way he has a connection between him and his father is with this program called Use What You Got Ministries. And it's been helping him out a lot. I mean, him and his family. His grandmother raised him. He's 14 years old now. And we also spoke to a woman who happened to be a methadone addict whose husband has been locked up for a while. He comes out in a couple of days, and she's about to leave her methadone program. So she'll be out of her methadone program for the first time in 3 years. So she's very nervous about that. She's nervous about seeing her husband that she hasn't seen for 6 years. And she's been getting, back and forth by the Use What You Got Ministries program that Miss Cecilia Whitfield's been doing it for 36 years. And she's running out of money. So we're trying to help her. RSL, us three were trying to help her do her thing. So that's what I was doing. And that's why I'm just getting back, and my hat is crooked and I'm feeling all kind of disheveled right now. But I'm back. I just got out the car, man.
You feel crooked, but you still chilling, man. Nobody noticed that. I don't see that. You smooth as ever, brother.
I got like a little hole in it. It's all good. It's all good. This is my holy. This is my holy hat. This is my church hat. This is my black church hat. I walk in the black church with this hat on, but it's all good. So what's going on? What's going on? What about you, Kurt? How was your day?
It was pretty cool. I got to see my mother, and
that's important.
What else? I got to link up with Donald, grab this stuff. It was a little busy. It was a little busy. Oh, I had started with a Bible class. That's not really started, and that was great. That really set me off on a high that I just been riding throughout the day. Always get fired up when you can teach something like if you think we spoke on the phone for about an hour or so, just going over some very real basics of the Bible, me and Brother Jonathan. And at the very end of the class, I asked him in his Bible if he saw like a letter next to a verse. He said, yeah. And I said, do you see like a center column of scriptures in the middle of your Bible? He said, yeah. He said, yo, I never noticed that. I said, yeah. So those are center references. You follow that verse, go based off the letter, and it's going to take you to a related verse. And that is one way to study the Bible, just by using scriptures, because it's
a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that.
It's called precepts.
That's what we do here. We educate, we inspire, and what else we do?
We influence, baby.
Yeah, man. That's what we do. So that's good that you were able to show him that, because a lot of people don't know about that part. And some people don't even go to references or try to learn too much about what the book is saying.
Right.
Like that.
It's true. It's
what up, D? What's going on with you? I'm going all day.
Not much, man. Had a busy day too. Just taking care of family stuff. Daughter got her hair braided today, so I had to take her to go get her hair braided. And then we are preparing for this trip coming up on Saturday. We're gonna be going to Belize for a few days, so just gearing up for that. And as I don't know if you guys notice, because I don't have a necessary spot to set up right now, I'm in my kids' room. So this is my studio for right now, under my son's bunk bed. If you can't see the
I
little wood plats.
It looked like you're in a fly studio right now.
Thank you. Well, I just blew it up. I'm in my kid's bedroom.
All right.
But yeah, that's my day as it is winding down. Kids are probably gonna be getting ready for bed soon, and that's what we do.
Yeah, I hear you. So what's going on? What else is going on? What are we getting to today? So we're going to talk about the church. Why do we need to talk about the church? Because I mean, I don't want to start. I don't want to start. And I'm the only one that went to church today.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you can't. Well, I told you the church I had with a brother in the morning, and where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name.
Okay, right? All right.
That is church.
Don't get started, Kurt. Don't get started.
That is church. That is church. That's what it says in the Bible, though, right? 2 or 3 gather in my name. That's church.
Matthew 18 and 20.
So we're talking about the black church, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the body of the black church, the Protestant. Basically,
what is that?
So we not right. So let's just clarify, right? We I guess we can mix in the hours and stuff, but we touching on that and food, right? Like we got some things to talk about concerning Sunday dinner. We do a fun half for people. We do a light half and a heavy half.
The church would be heavy. All right, let's go. I didn't know.
The black church.
The church is the heavy half.
Oh yeah, yes, sir. Black church is the heavy half. Yeah. Oh, you thought it was light? That's how heavy you are.
Yeah, I thought it was light.
Yeah, you're excused. The black church is heavy.
So, but before food and vibing on its different aspects, and seeing hopefully what some of the viewers may have to say about our opinions on it, and things like, do you have pork on your fork, and what have you? Fun topics like that. No, but before even going into that, we want to wish everyone on here a merry Black History Month, a happy big Black History Month, good people, right? It is
Yes.
February 2nd, and we do have Black Facts planned on the daily. We may miss a day or two, but we're going to catch up on that day, like such as tomorrow is the 3rd, and we got some stuff to share. But you can expect a good 3 Black Facts coming on that day, right? Just to, they accrue, it piles up. Uh,
Mhm.
so, yeah, but we got a Black Fact today. Uh,
Which
I'm
one is that?
So I got 4 lined up, right? So this is like a 4-in-1 Black Fact, and I'm not going heavy on the details of these good brethren and ancestors and whatnot, but y'all can look into them. But I would like for y'all to search as well, and that way I'm not reading them all. So someone look up Peter Williams Jr. Someone look up Peter Williams Jr. And actually, Donald, you look up Peter Williams Jr. and Martin, you look up Prince Abdul. Um, what's his last name? He came out with the song Purple Rain. No, 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 I'm just playing.
Raheem.
Prince
Mhm.
Abdul Rahman Ibrahimi. Yeah, Ibrahimi Sori. Okay. Oh, you caught that? But yeah,
Ibrahimi.
yeah, Ibrahimi Sori. So and I'll read the final one. So yes.
Okay. Do you want me to start with the first one?
No, I'm actually starting with the first. You got the second. Martin has the third, and I got
You
the
only got the
fourth.
third. Let's do it.
Yes, that's
Let's do
okay.
it.
All right.
What is it?
So
Prince what?
Prince
Don't give me a
Abdul,
hard
you
time.
spell that as he said you gave me the hard.
Prince
I got
Hakeem
8
from
names.
Zamunda. Prince
I know
Hakeem from
my
Zamunda.
part 20 is dying. Go ahead. I always got something going on.
Just Google coming to America. Okay, nah. Prince Abdul, Abdul.
I know how to spell Abdul.
Okay,
I don't know
Rahman
how.
is Rahman, and Ibrahimi. Well, this
Yeah,
shit
that's the
says
part.
Ibrahim. Yeah, that's IBR. Sorry, IBR. Yeah, I should have spelled that. AHIMA. This here says Ibrahima for some reason on Black Pass, and the last name is Sori. So yes, 5. Well, he's really got 4 names in the title. Sori, Sori. So you feel like I gave you the hard one, but I really gave you the royalty, man. Okay, so the first one, good people, Black Facts coming at you. The first, and this is related all as y'all see to Black spirituality and different Black aspects of Black religious and theological history in the United States.
Oh
So
God. Go ahead.
the
I'm sorry.
first person I have for you is Augustus Tolton. Augustus, like Augustus Caesar, Augustus Tolton, Tolton. You should know that he was born in 1854 and he passed in 1897. This man is the first Black Catholic priest, ordained Catholic priest in the U.S. He got ordained in Rome, but and he is what he's not. So let me preface that. I should say, or at least asterisk it, and let you know that he was preceded by some other Black people of mixed ancestry called the Healy family, who was no joke. You should definitely check out the Healy family. But they
Mm.
passed for white and they identified as white, though it was known that they had mixed ancestry amongst certain, I think, newspaper accounts that published it. But anyways, yeah. So, but August Tolton is the first, Black priest in the U.S., Catholic Black priest in the U.S. that went as Black, knew he was Black, dark skinned brother. All right, can't get around stuff. So yeah, that's him, 1854 to 1897. Go ahead, Donald, you up?
And I got Peter Williams Jr., born 1786, passed away in 1840. He was the second ordained priest in the Episcopal Church. He was also an abolitionist and supported free Black immigration to Haiti.
Who?
That is
Why?
huge.
Why?
Uh,
Sorry, I
be,
have to ask that. Yeah.
well, because that was after Haiti achieved their independence in 1804.
So it
Uh,
takes historical
so,
context, geopolitics into
oh
context.
yeah, that's very, very important. And he strongly opposed American Colonization Society meaning efforts to relocate free blacks to the colony of Liberia in West Africa.
There we go.
He was not with it.
That's right. It don't say that, right?
Oh, well, it doesn't say. I mean, I
That's what you're
paraphrase.
saying.
He was
Yeah.
not with it, but he
He's-
strongly
yeah, right. I dig it.
opposed. When somebody strongly opposes something, they are not with it at all.
Yes, yes.
And
Thank
as
you,
we like
King.
to say, they're not with the shits.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And
But
just oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. You don't got to
one
read the
more.
whole page, but go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
no,
please.
no. I'm not
Yeah.
going to read the whole
Do your
page.
thing, please.
I'm paraphrasing, but in 1808, he organized the St. Philip's African Church in Lower Manhattan, the second Black Episcopal church in the United States. I
Right.
think that is very, very important. And
Yes, sir.
su-
The first Episcopal, Black Episcopal, or the first Black denomination, Christian denomination, in the U.S. was started in Philly, 1816. Richard Allen, but Peter Williams Jr.'s father, senior, right? Peter, he started the first, or helped start or co-found the first African Methodist Episcopal Zion. It was called Mother AME Zion Church in New York, right? And his son
Yes.
followed in his footsteps. It's basically started a whole second, sub-Episcopal denomination, if you will. Not sub, but just, sorry, I should say separate denomination. It was called the Free African Union Church, or the Free African Church, excuse me. The Free African Church of St. Philip, which later changed its name to now the St. African Philip Episcopal Church. But yeah, it's just to see the stock that he came from, basically, right? Peter Williams Sr.'s pop and what he did. So it's beautiful. Martin.
Rahman Ibrahim was a Fulani Muslim prince born in 1762 in Timbuktu. He had a Moorish. He was a son of his wife was a Moorish wife. I mean, his mother was Moorish.
You got it.
I'm trying to check it out. I'm trying to figure this out. You gave me the
check it
out. He was a Muslim, basically.
Okay.
He
What's
was
the prince
sold,
about?
He was sold. He was sold. He was a prince. He was a prince of. He was a Fulani Muslim prince.
Okay, so his father was a king over in West Africa.
Right, and so his wife was Moorish.
His
father's,
right.
his mother was
Moorish.
yeah,
Prince Abdul. Okay,
right.
Mm-hmm.
When he was 5, his father removed the family in Timbuktu. Location. I don't know what he did. I know he was sold into slavery, and he ended up in Mississippi.
Right. Okay, you made it that far. Yep, he made it to Mississippi. He earned his freedom around
Natchez, which is a popular
Natchez. Yep, Natchez.
Yeah,
you know about
Natchez.
Natchez.
A beautiful song about Natchez too. He finally gained his. Yep. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, isn't Natchez as well the location for the Devil's Punch Bowl, or was that actually Emmett Till?
I don't know. I know it wasn't Emmett Till.
Oh, that I'm not even sure about.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Who keeps pinging, by the way?
All right.
That's me. I just pinged one time. There was one ping.
No, it was this like the third ping since we've been on. Check your pings, man. Check your pings.
Okay, go ahead, Curtis.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna definitely add, as far as if you want to just know his end, which was that he gained his freedom. He gained his freedom at the age of 66 in 1828. There's a whole story in the sense that he was recognized at least 20 years prior to that by a white man, I think by the name of John Coates Cox. But John Coates, this is a movie, if you will, John, and it is actually a movie called Prince Among Slaves, and y'all can Google that documentary, Prince Among Slaves, as well as we're gonna have other documentary recommendations and book recommendations. But he earned his freedom at the age of 66. All of the decades of trying to free him after that, I think, just a prominent white man recognized him, Dr. John Coates Cox, and still they would not sell him. Dr. Cox was, kidnapped and enslaved, basically hostage to I don't know if it was Prince Abdul's people while in West Africa, or if it was a rival people, but either which way, Prince Abdul treated him right and stuff, right? So he really knew him. He recognized him, right? And he knows his father. And like, yo, y'all don't know who y'all got. And no amount of money, though. were they trying to sell him for? So it took a while for him to finally gain his freedom at the age of 66, and yet to die a year later at the age of 67, I think from heart problems or something like that. And so, and he had moved. He moved to Liberia. So just looking at the difference, right, of
Mm,
someone going to Liberia versus, nah, we not with the ACS, American Colonization Society, trying to
Mhm.
push us back. But yep, uh,
ACS. I thought you was talking about something completely different when
and,
you said
r-
ACS.
right, child services type of thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
and
I
I and
thought.
I and I was being slick, right? I was being facetious in the sense of, because you're still trying to
Hmm.
kick us out or break up a family, if you will, and not that ACS is all negative, just to be clear, we ain't getting, canceled, whatever. But yeah, it has its negative rep for a reason amongst, especially underserved communities and impoverished communities, all of that, low income communities and what have you. Um, Outside of that, though, that's a side note that definitely need to throw in. I'll just say this fourth person. His name is William Saunders Crowdy, and William Saunders Crowdy was born in 1847 and passed in 1908. This brother was an American soldier. He was an entrepreneur, businessman. He's a preacher and a pastor, but I'm pulling him up because he's one of the earliest known. Oh well, first and foremost, before I finish that, the Muslim brother that we just covered, Prince Abdul
Hmm.
Rahman Ibrahima Sori. I wanted to go back to a Muslim of the 18th century and 19th, excuse me, in 19th century of this country, and that's why I picked him, as well as his story being so fascinating. All right, from royalty to
Mm.
plantations, and then to finally freedom, to a short-lived freedom. Right, so it's an interesting trajectory.
Hey, I got a quick question about this William Saunders Crowley. That's his name?
Yes,
William Saunders Crowley?
Crowdy with a D, Crowdy
Oh, with a B
with a D, like as D
or
as in
D?
dog, Crowdy. Yeah, D as in dog, Crowdy.
Oh, Crowdy.
Yep, William S.
Ah,
Crowdy.
that's interesting
Yeah. Oh, you was thinking of
because I
Crowley
looked
like
up somebody
Aleister Crowley.
different.
You was thinking of Aleister Crowley.
Well, yeah, I was. Do you know who William Saunders Crowley is?
Crowley? Oh no, I don't know who that
Kurt
is. I don't even know.
Crowley.
No, no, I never heard of that person.
Yeah, check this out. This is a
Okay.
quick side note, but all about the same
Yeah, you
topic.
good. You good.
William S. Crowdy, the second oldest Hebrew Israelite found.
Oh, Crowdy.
Dates, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's what I
1902.
pulled up. That's what I pulled
Okay,
up. William Saunders Crowdy. Yeah, William S. Crowdy with a D. I
okay,
thought I was hearing you say Crowley with an L. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
wait, he was a this man was an Israelite?
Yeah, I pulled this up just to finally full circle
Okay,
this
let's talk
four and one
about
black
this.
fact.
Yeah,
This
yes,
this this
yes.
4-in-1 black fact is to show you the diversity of black theology, black religion in this country, from black Catholicism to black Protestantism. That's Peter Williams, right? That's the Episcopal Zion, to black Islam. And we're not talking Nation of Islam. Of course, we got to, go to Fard Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, all those brothers for that. But we're talking, the traditional Islam, if you will, right? Coming from West Africa, who got it directly from the conquest of Islam, moving across North Africa from the Middle East and Saudi Arabia
Hmm.
and whatnot. So, right, it's just tracing it back through history. Uh, that's Prince Abdul. William S. Crowdy so that's representing a black traditional Islam and its history going back to the 18th century in America. William Saunders Crowdy represents that history going back to the late 19th century in America, all the way to the early 20th century, right? Between William S. Crowdy and F.S. Cherry, these are who you could call the fathers of Black Judaism or Black Hebrew Israelites in America.
Mm.
And yeah, so I pulled them up just to show that bit of diversity, and just as well as, in the spirit of transparency, good people, I subscribe. This is a belief to which I subscribe as far as being an Israelite, but I wanted to share a bit of its origins, right? You should always know the origins of your thought, of where it came
Mm.
from. If you're Darwinists, know about it at least. That's all. No Newtonian, laws and all of that, but just know Isaac Newton, right? Uh, If you're Jehovah's Witness, you should know Charles Taze Russell. If you're a Mormon, you should know Joseph Smith, right? If you are a
Mhm.
Muslim, you should know this brother Prince Abdul. As a Christian, Black Christian in this country, you should know Peter Williams Jr. You should know Augustus Tolton. And if you calling yourself a Black Jew of any sort, of Mari Stoudemire to Kyrie Irving's, whoever, right? You should know William Saunders Crowdy. If you are in any of these, what I call religions or cults, right, of my brothers who are in these organizations, you should know the origins of this thought and where it came about, and how it just morphed, throughout the decades. So, yep, that's your Black Facts, 4 and 1. Martin, you had a question?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. How'd you like reading about that Muslim brother, man? I did give you the Muslim brother. I was just like, yeah, Martin's brother's a Muslim.
He's
Why
all
not?
right. He's all right.
He should be able to get right through this, but I guess that was my bias.
No, he's all right. Cool. But me, I hold up my Christian banner at all times.
Oh yeah, but you was in the mosque not too long ago, no? I mean,
Yeah,
I ain't trying to blow your spot up with that.
I sit there, I talk to them, I hang out with them, and they go pray, and I sit there and I watch TV, I eat while they're praying.
Okay. You never prayed with them, kind of thing.
No, I'm a Christian, and I go and I sit there, I listen to them pray, but I'm sold and bought by Christ. That's it, and I don't, and I have no apologies for any of that. I don't,
Mhm.
not that I don't care about other people's religions,
Right.
but I don't. I'm convinced. I'm 150 billion ways convinced that Christ is my Lord.
Have you and your brother ever gone, head to head about Christianity versus Islam?
No, because he knows how I feel about it. He knows how I feel about the whole thing, and he understands. And I understand why he feels about it. He became a Muslim because he really didn't understand how to become a Christian. So you got to do what you got to do.
Really?
He works in the jail system.
What does that mean? He didn't understand how to become a Christian. Oh,
he didn't want to read a lot of people don't read the Bible, and they don't see the connection with the Bible and Islam. And it took them a while to even know that you had to read Gospel of Jesus Christ. Actually, that's one of the things you had to do to be a Muslim, is to read the gospel, and understand the gospel of Jesus Christ. Now he knows that, but he didn't know that when he was younger. And by the time he got in there, he's a Muslim now. I mean, he changed his name and everything. Who's going to go back once they change his name? It's a wrap,
Okay. Paul did.
Yeah.
So we don't debate about that unless we're talking about sin and stuff like that. And it's not even a debate. It's just, he is who he is, and I am who I am. I got another brother's Jehovah's Witness. He is who he is.
Oh, that'd be great to get all three of y'all on here, different viewpoints.
Jehovah's Witnesses don't talk about what they do on film and all that stuff.
We definitely get a Jehovah's Witness on here. Yeah, we will. We getting Jehovah's Witness.
I don't know no Jehovah's Witness that would get on here.
I do.
You know a lot, or you do know a lot, right? Yeah.
I know one ex Jehovah's Witness that will get on here and shoot them up.
Right.
And I do know one Jehovah's Witness that has a podcast, actually. Excuse me. And we may be able to get him on at some point. I haven't asked him yet, but I will. So, Doc, how was you went to church, you said, today? How was that, man? Like, and then that's the first question for you. And then what do you think about the Black church? What's the difference? What's the difference between a white church, an Asian church, different?
Excellent today. The sermon was, really, really good. It was about our bodies and what we do with our bodies and what our bodies are for. It was preached by this guy, Jeff Brown, who actually knows how to speak to the masses, white, Black, gang members. Everybody was up in there. It was a great day today at my church, and it was inspirational. Well, things are changing now with the Black church. The Black church is not as prominent as it was. The Black church was basically based in Black political thought, Black political history. They did a lot when it came to devote to freeing people, buying properties. And matter of fact, where I grew up at, the Dunbar Apartments, my church, Salem Methodist Church, which is a African Episcopal church, bought where we lived, bought a lot of land in Harlem. Also, the church that you know about on 133rd Street, that in-law preached at, Donald. Abyssinian.
Mm-hmm.
Abyssinian is known for everywhere from buying property in Harlem to actually helping out, teaching people to go against the Nazis, and they were in Harlem. I mean, a great story about this man. His name is Dietrich Ben Hofler,
Mm-hmm.
who actually went back and tried to kill Hitler. He shouldn't have done that because he got killed 2 weeks before the war ended. Just like the Valkyrie story, this was Dietrich Ben Hofler, which is a big history in Harlem and up at Abyssinian and up in Germany. So the Black church had a lot of influence on the world, just like anything that African Americans do or organize, is something that's to be read about and studied.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
go ahead,
Kurt.
Donald,
You go. No, you go first, King. Excuse me.
Oh no, it was just the fact that you had brought up the Baptist church. I mean, the Abyssinian Baptist Church, and I was just curious if you had known where you probably do, knowing you, where it got its name from, or how it named itself, why it named itself Abyssinia.
I forgot, man.
It's an ancient name for Ethiopia,
Yeah.
and I know that you like to shout out how Ethiopia resisted oppression. Right? I mean, this was later on and stuff, of course, but yeah, it's just good to know, and that's how they got their name. Or
Yeah, and then we talked about the very first church, right? The first Baptist church, first Black church, 1777, right? And the question that I had asked is
not 1777.
not 1777.
You said the first
The first
Black Baptist church.
Baptist church. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of John Barry Meacham, but he's the first Baptist church west of the Mississippi River. So hang on one second.
I thought it was in Savannah.
You might be right. My fault, brother.
No, it's all good.
Not knowing.
We that's but I'm curious about this because
You're absolutely right. Man, my bad, brother.
No,
Look
it's
at
good,
me,
King.
all
Yo.
Christianized out here, thinking I mean, not that that's not. Anyways, go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
But the role of the Black church and why was it necessary to have a Black church? That's my question to all of us.
Yeah.
Like how important was the Black church, and then why did we need a Black church?
Oh, I can
That's
go
for anybody.
about
Online
in
the
yeah. Oh yeah.
Online or in our group. What did Doc? I'll go with you first because you're the OG of the crew. Why do you think the Black church was necessary? Why do we need to create a Black church?
Well, like I just said, it was with the politics. So when it came to Black politics, the Black freedom, where it came from, that's where the fight started. It started in the Black church. Without the Black church, it wouldn't have been a fight. And it went on. That's where Martin Luther King and people before him, and which Curtis knows, during the slave time, it started back in those days. And that's where the fight, that's where the secrets, that's where the Underground Railroad, everything rooted in the Black church.
Yeah. I find that interesting that like church was first before I get into all that, Kurt, what do you think, man? Why do you think the Black church is so pivotal and important for us to establish?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just loving that fact you dropped about the first African Baptist church, right? And just seeing that whole thing. So definitely look into that, y'all. Donald dropped it as far as 1773. It's a good read. But yeah, for every reason that Martin dropped in terms of why the creation of the Black church, we were forced. This religion was forced upon us, not all, but most of us. We had to, believe in these things, and then eventually be allowed to go to the same churches as them, using the church on John Street as a perfect example that we went to,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
The John Street Methodist Church, right?
That's still up for those of you who excuse me for interjecting real quick.
No,
Kurt.
no, you know it.
So the historian Curtis Reed right there below put me on to it. Is that the oldest church in New York City that is still up and standing?
Yes, I believe so because it goes back to the like just even almost Dutch era. But hold on, let's see. I don't know.
Wait,
And I would say I'm just a lover of history, y'all. I'm a student of history, and I am a teacher of history for sure and everything. But shout out to all the people that's
hey,
students of
and so we
history.
got a comment from Mr. underscore Rose, and he said that is and was one of the places we could congregate.
Yes,
Absolutely, King.
yes, yes,
Absolutely.
yes. Let's see if it is one of the oldest or if it's the oldest. It is, brother. Good job, Donald. That memory is sharp. The John Street United Methodist Church, also known as Old John Street Methodist Episcopal Church, located for anyways. The congregation, jumping down, is the oldest Methodist congregation in all of North America. It was founded on October 12th, 1766, by the Wesleyan Society. Um,
Interesting. 1766.
Yes. So we were allowed to go there and worship there, but never down. The pews were never integrated, right? We had to always be up above. It was for a time not allowed to marry, right? No marriages being ordained and stuff. So we had reasons for just wanting to leave. I'm using that as a microcosm of a reason of why you needed the black church, right? And I mentioned Peter Williams Sr. earlier. He was an attendee of that church or Trinity Church, one of the other, and left there to create the Mother AME Zion Church and stuff in the 1780s, in the 1810s. Excuse me, y'all. And stuff. So yeah, that's that. That's
Yeah.
my opinion on that as far as the reason for it in terms of a direct reason like yo now we want to do this, we want to be baptized, all of those things, not to mention again the heavy hitters that Martin mentioned, especially being underground railroad stops. And what do we mean by underground
Mhm.
railroad stops? Right, their cellars, their basements, their attics, whatever have you, or just being a passageway. uh we read that Peter Williams Jr. was an abolitionist, a staunch abolitionist, as was his father, as was Richard Allen, who could be called the father of Black Methodist Episcopal Church, right? So I think all that's pretty
It,
heavy. But I wanted to add, yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. No, it's also, if you think about it, it's how we all say that we're not a monolith.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
black church has never been a monolith. It's always different denominations that have
Right.
different ways of thought, but still believed in Christ in the same way
Right.
and got
That's
along.
it.
Hmm.
Well, I love one of the things I love, with topics like this when it comes to the Black church is it's not only um our legacy, especially with Christianity and the Bible in this country,
Hmm.
is not all hunky dory, right? It's not all pretty and stuff. And I love to I just like to analyze the dichotomy between how the Bible and verses were used to enslave a population at
Hmm.
different points in time, right? And don't ever shy away from that topic, because the truth of the matter is that's accurate, that's factual. And the flip side of the coin is that the Bible was also used, it was used to enslave us, it was used to liberate us. Do we not know these preachers, right? Denmark Vesey. Do we not know these preachers, Nat Turner, that was all about using the verses and correlating the black struggle and slavery to the Exodus story and Moses, right? So using these same verses, that's why I think one reason why the Bible calls itself a two-edged or a double-edged sword. Because it can cut both ways sometimes, or many a times.
Yeah, you brought up an interesting point because this is something that I hear quite often is Christianity is a white man's religion. And you had just mentioned something that this is what was given to us. Um can do you mind expanding on that a little bit?
Most definitely, most definitely. I said it's first it's something that I think people who, whether you call yourself Christian or you're student of the Bible, it's not something that you should shy away from concerning excuse me. sorry, it's not something that you should shy away from because it's so clear in the record that verses were used, and these verses still exist today, right? Were
Mhm.
used to in a manipulative way, right? Because you're reading part of it to them, and you're not allowing them to be able to read or write. So you're preaching, but you're not teaching, right? Them how to read or write. You don't want them to
Mm.
read the next verse or the following verses that have rules on on how a master is supposed to treat their servant. And just be clear, this is no from me justification of any behavior, but only examination of the record using the Bible, right, and the scriptures and the history. So yeah, it was used, but at the same time, that's why I say I mentioned, they called Harriet Tubman Moses, right?
Mm.
Nat Turner, if you even just watch the movie and how that goes in the new, Birth of a Nation in 2016. If you check that movie out, that film out, this man is first off a domestic, right? House Negro, domestic servant, and he is a preacher as well, eloquent, literate, and what have you. So Nat Turner, well, yeah, that's going in on him a little bit, but you could do the same with Denmark Vesey, of course. So just as far as it being sort of really forced upon us, that goes all the way back to the Jesuit priests, right? And that can segue into that family I mentioned, the Healy family, who
Mhm.
can boast one of the first black Jesuits, or the first black Jesuit. So that yeah, between the late 15th century all the way up to the 18th century, and by the time you are in the 1800s, the 19th century, the 1800s, so we are already indoctrinated. But those previous two and a half centuries, it is being, it's the cross or the sword, right?
Mm.
And pestilence was coming regardless and stuff, right? And then, if y'all check out that documentary that I sent, and just for the people viewing, documentary that you can check out on the history of the Black Church is called The Black Church by PBS, and Henry Louis Gates Jr. I think a Harvard scholar. All right, definitely a scholar, Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. Um, that's called The Black Church. And I think it might be a subtitle, but I don't want to get that wrong. And yeah, they, you see a lot, man. You see like there's 30% of us, or some records say 15% of African Americans or enslaved Africans, right, or enslaved black people, brought over on the ships during the transatlantic slave trade. Somewhere between 15 to 30% were Muslim, right? So they had to get converted. Sapelo Island,
To become Christians,
yes.
and they were converted by force, right?
Yeah, most pretty much. Yes. I mean, you could find your examples always, your exceptions of someone willingly and what have you, but for the most part, yeah, that was either a force or even just like when you check out that documentary, they'll mention a brother by the name of Bilali Muhammad, and who was intent on, he was a Muslim brother, right? And he was intent on writing down as much of the Quran as he could remember, and just practices and things to do, because he wanted to preserve his culture and his religion, right? But his grandchildren would become like the founders of the first black Christian church in
Mm.
I think in Savannah, or in Sapelo Island, and stuff, right? But y'all could check that out on that documentary. Double check, double back on the facts. uh One last thing I would, or not, well, we can keep this flowing, but I just want to not forget a hoodie that we have, right, called Onesimus Inoculation. And
Hmm.
this is about an enslaved brother who was brought over here in America, right? is it the 20s or the 1780s? But definitely before the small, yes, I think the smallpox epidemic was in 1721, right? Double check.
Hmm.
Right. But do y'all know where the name Onesimus comes from? I'll look that up.
No, I don't know where it
From the
comes from.
Bible.
Word. You know which book?
It's,
No, I don't know.
um, uh, it's not in Romans. I don't remember the book.
Okay. Okay. Good. And yeah, he's definitely pretty much, you want to know a prominent year where Onesimus is flourishing, you would go to 1721.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Right. Um, That's where he's really pivotal in preventing the smallpox epidemics happening out in Boston or somewhere in Massachusetts,
You
for
know,
sure.
the funny thing is that
Oh, Philemon is the
Onisis
book. Sorry. Yeah. Yep.
Philemon,
Bad.
yes, thank
Yes.
you.
That's the book
Yeah,
where you can find Onesimus. Yeah.
the crazy thing is, and Martin put me onto Onesimus actually. Uh,
Which one?
no,
The biblical one or
no,
the American historical, Black African American historical one?
yeah, the one who is responsible for vaccines, and Martin had put me on to him, but this is something that is not spoken of in American history, which I think is very crucial and necessary. You know, because this is going a little bit outside of the church conversation for a second. Uh, you know, a lot of
And
us. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say, Kurt?
no, I was just gonna. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut across you. I was gonna say, and yet it is at least from the Onesimus perspective because it's a biblical name, and we're gonna go back into that though. The reason why you got that name. Go ahead. Sorry, don't
Yeah,
cut you off.
we're gonna go back into that for sure. I just wanted to say that, you know, a lot of us, especially with um swearing in. Did he get sworn in yet? Of what's
Trump.
Kennedy's? No,
Oh,
not Trump.
RFK.
Trump is president.
Oh,
RFK. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Uh, who is actually against vaccinations, and a lot of us are against vaccinations. In fact, I was for a little bit until my mom died from COVID. But we would not have vaccines in America if it were not for Onesimus, you know. But and then Kurt, you were just about to drop a fact or
Yeah.
something, my love.
Yeah.
To tie that back in, how did Onesimus get his name?
Yeah. From the Mather family. What was this guy's name? He's a
Quake, was he a
doctor.
Quaker?
I believe so. Thomas Mather, Thomas Mather. But he is someone who gets more, I think, accredited or yeah, someone in the community gets
Cotton Mather.
Cotton Cotton Mather. Thank you. I think he gets accredited with
He was a
vaccination.
Puritan. A Puritan.
Okay. Okay.
What does that
Yeah.
mean?
That's sort of in that Quaker family, right? Amish family, but they, I think, originate definitely more in Massachusetts, right? Boston. The
Mm.
Puritans were very strict, a strict bunch. They were about religious freedom, right? These are some of the folks that the Pilgrims, descendants of the Pilgrims, if you will, broke off and all sorts of, um, I guess you could say, schisms that took place. But yeah, the Puritans have been known for being pure, right, and pious. Always try to break down the words back to that. But you can certainly look up. I mean, I'm definitely simplifying things and giving you the run through, but you can look up their Massachusetts background and all of that. I was gonna say to you though. Oh yeah, just as far as the biblical connection, that's all. He named him that because he was his servant, and Onesimus is the slave of Philemon in the book of Philemon, and it is a letter written by Paul the apostle to Philemon to accept his runaway slave back into his service. He's been good to me. All of that you should know is in the Bible. So I think that's an important conversation to have at some point about why are there laws on slavery in the Bible, laws of servitude, and how
Mm.
when to free your manservant, things like that in the Bible. Um, yeah. And what's the difference? You can make distinctions, Old Testament versus New Testament and whatnot, but certainly a conversation to have because it's clearly in both testaments. All right.
And, and
That's why you have books like Philemon. But yeah, go ahead.
And for those of you who are joining us on Instagram or whether you're looking at us through Facebook, we this is what we are calling. We haven't coined it yet, but it is a spiritual Sunday conversation, and we are going to transition to talking about food in just a second. But we still on the spiritual vibe right now,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, we flipped it. We started with the heavy half, and we're going to end it with
we're
the
gonna go
light
to the
half.
light half.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that you want to say, I can see all your comments on Instagram. And so anybody who's on here watching right now, thank you for tuning in. I just sent a bunch of people like to watch this podcast. But yeah, the Black church and spirituality is so instrumental in such an interesting topic because I feel like it's hard to not have conversations without getting into politics at the same time because even with the Black church and the origin of the Black church was very political at some point. Would you
Hmm.
agree, or would y'all disagree with that statement?
It's always been political, and it's good that it's been political because that's part of the world. And if they want us, if you want to understand what's going on in the world, and you don't, if you want to understand why the Bible would say, be kind to your masters when it comes to slavery, if you want to understand why the Bible would then say that we need to be free as people and that we need to fight for our freedom. If you understand, then you'll understand who God was and who Christ was and who the Spirit of God is. Because God allows things to happen for his reasons, right? And those reasons could be something that you will never, ever understand. But you will know that we're in a better place than we are now than we were then. And those who stick close to that book, it improves. And those who move away from it, they have more problems. I that's how I see it. I see marriages are falling apart because people don't think it's important to actually stay married anymore, and people are using their bodies for things that aren't good. From what Curtis and I was talking about earlier today, we were talking about food and how it's connected to sex. And if you're doing something deviant sexually with yourself or other things, it can also be connected with food. So it's so deep. It's just deep. It's all about sustenance and what you want to do. And Bible tells you that you can't do everything that you just want to do.
That's an interesting, since we're transitioning into the food portion of the conversation, and you said food and sex goes hand in hand, and I find that interesting to think about, because I'm trying to understand, how does food and sex go together? Now, I know that both of those things are something that is pleasurable, right? It feeds appetite, so to speak, a feeling, a calm, or what happens to the brain when you are inspired by something. The serotonin goes off, or what happens to the brain when these two things are met, whether you're eating food or you're having sex. And then I've also heard when people are depressed, they consume food as a go-to. So yeah, I'm curious about that. Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, pivot to food and sex. How does the two of those go or coincide with each other?
Curtis,
I believe in aphrodisiacs.
What is an aphrodisiac?
I mean, I just figured I'd get straight to it.
Aphrodisiac, yeah, oysters.
I do. But what is an aphrodisiac?
Oh, you like oysters, Doc?
Yeah, I like oysters. I don't like them raw though, because you can get sick. You can get sick raw oysters. I like them raw, but I don't eat them raw. I used to eat oysters when we used to go fishing. We used to fish with oysters, and sometimes on the way back, deep sea fishing. On the way back, I would be just opening the husk and just eating the shell and eating the oysters raw without the ocean. It was good. Or the bait. It was bait. Buckets of bait I would eat.
I like mussels. And my mom used to eat oysters and clams all the time. And I definitely still like oysters. Real quick side note. Amo bio official. I feel like the fact that it was a monarchy structure back then, and with the structure in play, slavery wouldn't have been a foreign to person back in the day and age. That was from Omo bio official. Excuse me if I'm butchering your name, brother. Please forgive me. Yeah, so he's talking about the church and spiritual aspect. But yeah, you were saying, Kurt, excuse me. You asked a question about oysters.
Oh yeah, no. No, I had asked. No, Martin that brought up oysters, so I just figured I'd mess with it and get him to talk about that. But I was about to say, oh yeah, no, I brought up aphrodisiac. I just know off the top of my head, Aphrodite is like the goddess of maybe not love.
Well, you eat something and you feel like you want to bone out.
That's where you get the That's where you get the word aphrodisiac
You eat
comes
something
from,
and you
though.
feel like you want to have sexual
Aphrodite.
intercourse.
And so it's definitely something Greek. So okay, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Be crude, brother. Let me
I'm
let
just
you
saying,
say
I'm
what
being
you're trying to
fast.
say.
When you eat
What is
something,
it? What?
you just feel like you want to bone out, man. That's all.
That's it.
You get
Okay, all
sexually
right. You eat something
aroused.
make you see.
It
See, I'm
connects you with stuff like my aphrodisiac
hey,
hot dog,
hey,
macaroni and cheese.
hey, Kurt, and just for the record, you are correct. It is from
okay.
Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of sexual love and beauty.
Okay,
Right. So,
Aphrodite.
in
Aphrodite.
other words, you eat something, you want to bone out. So,
Yeah, yeah. Your regular old Shakespeare, Hamlet, King Lear, you are.
yes, that's me.
What I was about to say. So I wanted to get a little Song of Solomon with y'all, right? And that man's a poet for sure. Hopefully Martin gets inspired, but I wanted to connect food and sex and the pleasure of the two. I know there's a toxic
Ah,
angle to that, but yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, no. I'm just
Uh,
if you hear me go ooh and ah, I'm reading the comments on social. So
yeah,
William said, thank you for correcting me, by the way, and don't lose your thought, Kurt.
I know I
Uh,
won't. I won't. Go ahead.
I feel like the fact that it was a monarchy structure back then, and with that structure in place, slavery wouldn't have been have been as foreign to a person back in the day. And he said, and the Bible is a combination of stories from different people at different times, so it might contradict itself in the sense of slavery at different time frames of the Bible. That's what William said. Um,
This
we
is Yeah, that's a great I think insight first and foremost, brother William. Or William, good good person. Appreciate you. And I don't know if Martin you got a input you want to go, but I
No, I don't. I don't. Go.
okay. Well, I'll just say quick fast to that. Um is that the Bible is quite consistent if you go from Old Testament to Intertestament to New Testament when it comes to servitude and when it comes to even our present time, there's still slavery, right? And to servitude. So I'm not, when I say consistent, I'm saying it is always in some shape or form approving of the system and at the same time fighting against the system. So, right, Exodus, just as an example, quick fast, right? If we just go into that biblical story, who we know or believe most scholars accept to be written by Moses sometime around 1321 BC, right? Uh, if you use that story, the Exodus story, it starts with the Hebrew Israelites in slavery, in captivity. And by all accounts, from everything in the 49 chapters before in Genesis, this nation did nothing to be born in slavery, right? But yet they were born in slavery. And
mhm.
then the rest of the story is right is about the Old Testament Savior, if you will, Moses releasing, let my people go, right? And that whole battle against Egypt and Pharaoh. And then there is you could say Metu Neter or Egypt or a hieroglyphic documentation of the enslavement of the Hebrews by the Egyptians. I got to get back to you on the dynasty, but that's all a point. That's all just to hone in on a point of as far as the stories being inconsistent. No, it's just for which time, right? Like you could check out Hebrews 4:12. I'll just say that you can check out Hebrews 4:12, which says that the word of God is quick and it's like a two-edged sword, so it can be used for good and for evil. I think a great movie about that is The Book of Eli, where you got Gary Oldman trying to use the book for evil, and many of people do that, right? And during that, especially during that monarchical time that you mentioned, William, uh, and many of people try to use it for good and to liberate, right? And that's where I brought in the Denmark Bessies, Gabriel Prossers, and Nat Turners. But yeah, that can go in. That's a whole nother class or episode, if you will. Um, I just wanted to share two verses on food and sex. Excuse me, right? Two Bible verses. So this how I get down, y'all, with this word, especially on things like this. If we with a topic like this, and definitely on spiritual Sundays, not every day, right? We going into culture, politics, da da da. Da. Today, though, we are touching on, spiritual topics, and hopefully, we connecting it with some food now, of course, right? But that being said, um, I'll just read Proverbs 15 and 17 quick fast. It's a short one. Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 17. It says, better is a dinner of herbs or vegetables. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox, right? Or fatted calf. A stalled ox, right? Nice piece of meat. Instead of oxtail. Think oxtail, right? Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. If y'all ever heard the term cooking with love and stuff, right? To cook with love, this is that cooking with love versus cooking cold, cooking that this person cooking with hate in their heart and stuff. There is no flavor, no soul up in any of this food. Who made this, right? Um, and I like to just use that because for some people that's the way to their heart, right? That's their love language. They cook for you and stuff, and that plenty of brothers say, "Yo, this is the quickest way to my heart is through my belly." That's an old cliche, da 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 da. But yeah, that could make you, wife someone up and everything, or that man know how to cook, make you hubby someone up and everything. That partner know how to cook, it can make you, just marry him. That's all. Y'all get it. So that's one.
Right.
Y'all got something to say before I go to the
Yeah,
next one? And that's the
No,
last.
yeah,
Oh yeah, go
I
ahead.
do.
I got something
Like
to
they
say.
say, food is the center of the soul or something like that. Food
Mm,
is the spirit to the soul.
get heavy.
Uh, I,
Make the
I'm
light
I,
half
I'm
heavy.
yeah, I'm just trying to get some more context on that. So if food is the spirit to the soul, how would you explain that?
Well, I don't believe that, but I mean, I love food. And stuff. I don't know. Martin, what you think?
I don't believe that either.
So who said that, Donald?
I don't know who
The
said that.
question is, who
Yeah,
said
that's what I heard
you
for
ain't
a
getting no
long
love right now?
time.
Okay.
That's what I heard for a long time. That food is the spirit to the soul.
That's
Mm.
maybe
The point I was drawing is that food is an avenue to the bedroom, to the bed. That's what I. No, it's great though. It's an avenue to
Hey,
the wedding aisle. All of that.
well, hold on. This is biblical. It's biblical. It says Jeremiah 15:16. The Bible described
Oh,
as
what you
spiritual
doing?
food, similar to how physical food is needed for survival.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay. 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 Where we
I'm
going?
just
Where go?
saying.
Okay.
I'm just
I
saying.
work,
That's.
and I did eat them. Ooh,
I'm
I
just
love
saying.
it. I love it.
I'm just saying, man. So,
Yes. Yes.
so
And
I,
so
per
is
unpopular
so is sex for
demand,
survival at the end of the day,
right?
right?
That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So if according to the word, if that is true, then what is the
And it's meant to be
context for that?
pleasurable too. I think
It
that's
is.
I
I'm
think that's
saying
strong
that's
to emphasize. It's not meant to be. People do it all types of ways, whatever. I ain't judging. Right,
right.
but
Because
as far as like just here's what I will judge and condemn, right? The BGM,
what's
I mean
BGM?
the FGM. BGM is probably some gang. I don't know, but FGM is female female genital stop female genital mutilation, which is highly prevalent in Africa, definitely in some parts of India as well, and South Asia, right? But in many of African countries, sub-Saharan African countries, right, this is a problem. FGM, female genital mutilation, where they are, it's like four different phases. Some where they clip, they mutilate the entire vulva, if you will, or they operate on the entire vulva and just it becomes a little slit, or they just the most common is the removal of the clitoris, and that's a
Mm.
woman's pleasure zone, right? And Solomon would not have been having that, right? The word ain't about that and stuff. So that's where I'm about to get into Solomon, but uh just as far as any type of spiritual thing, anything that's spiritual, well, no, it was an organ, right, created by the creator, right? So it's meant to, that's why he's trying to, those are, as far as I look at them, insurances to his first laws of I told you to be fruitful and multiply. So I sort of made this irresistible, right? I gave you some tools to ensure that law gets followed, right? Just naturally, if you will. So I need to program them a bit, to me, even if they trying to. I ain't saying that nobody doesn't live a celibate life. Clearly, it's been done, but Yeah, man. Song of Solomon, chapter 4. I'm just going to read Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 1, and just a few verses of you seeing the poetry of this duet, this love duet between Solomon and his
Damn, that
chief.
is loud as hell.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, Solomon and his chief mistress, if you will, or chief concubine, uh, Sharon of the lily of the valleys, Sharon, of the fields. I forget how he calls it, describes it, but it's a big thing in poetry.
Hey,
I'm gonna turn this off. Go
hey, we
ahead.
got we got some people on the check in. I want to
Oh, Donald's breaking up.
Yeah.
give. Oh, I know who you are, but I just government. But yeah, so as you guys are starting to tune in to the podcast, if y'all want to come on with us, let me know and I will send you the link. Today is Spiritual Sundays, and we are in the segment now of talking about food and spirituality, like how do the two go hand in hand.
Go ahead, Curtis. So what was you saying?
Go ahead, Kurt. Excuse me.
Can't hear you, Kurt. Can't hear you.
We can't hear you,
My
Kurt.
fault, y'all. My fault, y'all. My fault, y'all. I was just saying, yes, we're talking about food and spirituality and sex and love. All right, just to be clear on all of that right now in Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 1, you getting a duet. This is a love duet. This entire book, Song of Solomon, consists of 8 chapters, and this is a love duet between Solomon, King Solomon, and his chief mistress, if you will, or chief concubine. He's known for having, or documented at least, of having 700 wives and 300 concubines. He was, to say a busy brother is, the statement of the century, of the millennium.
He was a freak that was out of control. Go ahead.
You said he's a freak that was out of, yeah. So there you go. Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, no, it's hard to argue against him, but
Was
he
he?
got some wisdom. He
After
got
you
some
read
wisdom out of this.
A reader,
Yes.
after you read this, he's telling y'all he's a freak. Go ahead, read it.
Well, yeah, no, that Song of Solomon is great for anyone looking to view about sex in the Bible.
I'm free to be a
Anyone
freak.
looking to see about sex.
I'm free
All
to
right.
be freaking it with my wife. Go ahead.
You didn't like the verse on the breast when I went on. Well, this is a new one on the
No, I
breast.
like
Anyways.
all the verses in the Bible.
Okay, cool. So Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 1. Behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes within. Thy locks, which are braids at that time, because locks could be opened. So that's one word we call braids. I don't want you to confuse them with dreadlocks or, excuse me, locks. All right, today. So, excuse me. Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Mount Gilead. Thy teeth are like a flock of sheep. So white, they definitely pearly whites, right? If you think about sheep, but thy teeth are like a flock of sheep that are even shorn, or they straight, which came up from the washing. All right, you got it. Whereof every one bear twins, and none is barren among them. Thy lips, so they no gaps, all of that, right? That's just very poetic, just to say that you got it straight, a nice smile or something, right?
Right.
Thy lips are like a thread of scarlet, and thy speech is comely or beautiful. Thy temples, here we get to the food. Thy temples, right, the side of your the side of your head. Thy temples are like a piece of a pomegranate, within thy locks. Thy neck is like the tower of David, builded for an armory, whereon there hang 1,000 bucklers, all shields of mighty men. Somebody was doing their traps, right, or workout with them, or their dips, I should say. Verse 5. Thy two breasts, this is how you know it's him talking to the woman, though,
He's a
right?
freak. He's a freaky freak.
Thy two breasts, they go back and forth, but now this is him talking. Thy two breasts are like two young roes. That's two deer, right? Two female deer, right? Two young roes that are twins, which feed among the lilies, right? And so they're healthy. They're healthy breasts, right? They feed among the lilies. But if you jump down to verse 7, he goes, huh?
I say he's scandalous. Go ahead.
You get scandalous?
And when you jump down to verse 7, it says, thou art all fair, my love. There is no spot in thee. Verse 9, thou hast ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse, right? So calling his wife his sister. That's when you know you vibing in the spirit, man, right? We family at the end of the day. When you united as a people, right? This is your sister queen amongst queens, right? But anyways, thou hast ravished, and ravish could be taken, or but thou hast ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse. Thou hast ravished my heart with one of thine eyes, with one chain of thy neck. How fair is thy love, my sister, my spouse? How much better is thy love than wine, and the smell of thine ointments than all spices? So she was smelling,
Preach.
right? Thy lips, O my spouse, drop as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under thy tongue. And the smell of thy garments is like the smell of Lebanon. That's that nice cedar smell, cedar wood of the cedar tree. That's the smell of Lebanon. The Lebanon being bombed not too long ago, right? Today. Verse 12, a garden enclosed, I'll stop here. Garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. Song of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 13 says, thy plants are an orchard of pomegranates with pleasant fruits, campfire with spikenard. He makes all types of references to the garden when referring to her genitals and private area.
I never read this part of the Bible in my life. I never heard this before. This is definitely adulterated spiritual conversation. The Martin got his head tilted to the side.
Right. What's wrong, man? Like, would you read some poetry to your lady, to your wife? What's wrong with this? You couldn't read this?
Nothing's wrong with it. It's great.
Poetry.
Because, you know, once we get, next time we do this, we get to the why he was talking like that and what he was doing.
Why was he talking like that? We can get to it now.
A reason that he said it. It's not like it wasn't. It was talking about the pleasure and what sex is for. God created sex. God created food. God created these things, so it can't be wrong. There's nothing wrong with it if God created it. It is something that needs to be done, something that we do. But what happens is that we misuse it all the time. So now if you leave some of those scriptures that we talk about now, just talking about the pleasure of it, and you go to anywhere in Corinthians, if you go to Corinthians, what is it? Corinthians 1, 1 Corinthians
10, you said, right?
1 Corinthians 12, 14. He explains the whole thing to you, exactly what he's talking about when you put sex and food, because that's what this is about. Corinthians basically talks about how we have control and how we don't have to do things that just please us all the time. And that's the part that I was talking about. I mean, there's a reason why Solomon spoke like that. There's a reason why when you see things like that in the Bible, because everything is in the Bible. That's why I said he was a freak, because I want people out there to know that the Bible is a book that will explain everything in your life to you, everything that you're going through, if you read it the proper way and if you understand what's going on. So one of the things in Corinthians 6:12 actually tells you all those things that
6:13.
Well, it's 12 to 14. That's what it is, I think. 1 Corinthians.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians 6:13.
6:12.
You can do 6:12 to 20. You can do that too.
To understand it, it has to be 12 to maybe 14 or 16 or 14, 15.
I read it from the NIV. And guys, if y'all listen to this is Spiritual Sundays. I don't know if y'all gonna be into it if you're not, but NIV says, you say food for the stomach and the stomach for food, and God will destroy them both. The body, however, is not meant for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. That's 1 Corinthians 6:13.
Yeah, but if you read from 12, you got to read from 12. 1 Corinthians 12 to 14.
10. I think you're talking about 10.
No, let's start. Okay.
Which chapter are you talking about?
Wait. Let me go. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
1 Corinthians 6.
Chapter 6?
6. Yeah, I'm sorry. 6.
6 what verse?
12 to 14, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I apologize. 6.
No, you're good.
6.
Okay. I'm gonna read it from the NIV just for you, Dad.
And when you read the first, I think it's 3 words or 4 words. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I have the right to do anything.
Sorry, Paul is just funny. And the New International Version is hilarious. All the other versions are hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
Everything is.
I'm just saying. But then the King James says, "All things are lawful unto me."
Right. Like
all
you hear the difference.
Yeah, it's
You
very
hear the
different.
difference?
The
I have
language
the
is
right to
very
do
different.
Wait,
anything.
hold up.
What?
That's not different. It's not
All right.
permissible. The right. What is it?
Well,
What does it say?
You
well,
want to
the
read into it, no
King
different.
James,
But
but the King James is very, very different. It says, "All things are lawful unto me."
It's not.
right.
Let me
But
just say
but
this.
then what? But
It is-
what? But then it says what? Go ahead. Just let him get it.
all
All
right.
things are lawful unto me, but
Go ahead.
But all things are not expedient.
right, which means profitable or necessary or
Are
helpful
beneficial.
for
Are
me. Right,
beneficial.
beneficial. Right.
All
Beneficial.
But
Just
This
it's
like
just, I mean,
verse
just
is
do you hear
saying
the difference in that statement
there's a
versus
huge difference. There's a huge
I have
difference.
the right to
The
do
the
anything?
in
What?
the NIV, the first thing he says, or it says rather, I have the right to do anything.
okay.
You
Stop
say,
right there. Stop.
he
Stop.
That's
says,
some Trump. That's some Trump.
that's the Trump would go to the NIV. He said, but then it says, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will
All right.
not
You just
be
read that.
mastered by anything.
Okay. Go ahead.
Mm.
Read it.
That's what the NIV says.
Okay.
Then the King James says, all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any.
Still better in my in terms of I
Mm.
prefer that wording. But yeah, it's all good. Difference in
You
distinction.
didn't finish. Read.
Yeah, you want to keep
What do you
read.
mean?
You
You
heard?
want me to continue after 16?
Yeah, I
Or
said it's
No, that was
it's
I'm
12.
sorry, that was
First
12.
Corinthians 12 to 14. Then you'll
All right,
understand what we're talking about: sex and food.
Yes,
12 to
sir. And
14.
spirituality to
I got you.
mix.
I got you. Let's do it.
Where you going with
12.
this dot?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious to know too. But so you want me to read from both, Doc? KJV?
I don't care.
Eh,
Just read it. It don't matter to me. Whichever one you read, it's all the same.
it is all the same? Okay.
Yes.
All
No,
right.
it's not. But go
It's
ahead.
not. It's not. But I'm gonna go to 6, and I don't know as much as Kurt, but it sounds very
You start
different.
from
And
the
I don't
beginning.
know as much as the next man.
Start
But
from
yeah.
the beginning
All
again.
right, so then the next verse goes. This is a KJ King James version. I'll read. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna read from the NIV first.
Why don't you
That's
read
what I'll
from the
do.
new? You got a New King James version? New King James.
Why
Yeah,
you want the new King James?
I got a new living translation for you. How about that? You like that?
I like the New King James version and the King James. It doesn't matter. I mean, they all the versions are the same. Everything is the same.
They're not. Just one quick distinction so that
Well,
you
I say they
understand.
are.
The King James version. Well, I mean, I'm just telling you what the scholarship says, right? Is that as far as the translators and they say, right, is that the King James version is a word for word translation, meaning word for word from the manuscripts, the original manuscripts that they could find, whether you're talking about the what is it
Yeah,
called? The
I know that part.
Sinaiticus
Right.
manuscript. But so that right versus the New International Version and many modern day versions are not all, right? Not the NKJV, but the NIV is a thought for thought translation.
Okay.
So they went when they were translating, they were not just going word for word as what they were thinking about what the real message was that was behind, the writer's intent, and they're reading into that when they are writing. That's where you get these distinctions and
All right.
stuff. So
Let's finish
yeah,
this.
I prefer word for word
From the
over thought
beginning.
for thought. Oh yeah, go ahead, King.
Oh, you want me to read it? Okay, I
Yeah,
was waiting.
First
All right.
Corinthians 6 and 13, right?
Which one am I reading from? I'm reading from the
It's 12 to
NIV,
14.
the
It
King
doesn't matter.
James.
At this
Which one you
point,
want me to
I don't
read?
care. At this point, it doesn't matter.
So I'll read the King James, and Donald, you get the NIV.
First Corinthians 6, 12 to 14.
Okay, I'll do NIV. You do King James. You first, Kurt.
All right. First Corinthians 6 and 12. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful unto me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats. But God shall destroy them both. Excuse me, but God shall destroy both it and them. Now, the body is not for fornication, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. Verse 14. And God hath both raised up the Lord and will also raise up us by his own power. You want me to keep reading down to 16?
No,
Did you say
no, I mean, if
that
you
was
want
it,
to,
right?
yeah, you can keep going.
No.
If you want.
Okay.
I don't, I
Okay.
don't,
Unless
I don't
you
know what
can.
the 16 is. I don't know what that says, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to start from
Oh,
First
okay.
Corinthians 6:12 in the NIV,
All
and
right.
you already know what 12 says. I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. Verse 13 says, you say, food for the stomach and the stomach for food, and God will destroy them both. The body, however, is meant for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the
Not
body.
for, not me- it's not meant for.
Is not meant for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. 14 says, by his power, God raised the Lord from the dead, and he will raise us also. 15, do you not know that your bodies are members of Christ himself? Shall I then take the members of Christ and unite them with a prostitute? Never. Now, this is confusing. Because we have two different readings of the text. One is the new NIV is the new international version, and the King James is the King James version. Now, one thing that I don't know because I'm not well studied enough like this, but what is the difference between the two?
To me, there's no difference. But maybe Curtis can explain that. Because to me, I'm going to tell you that there's no difference. But he just told you the difference is in the way that the scholars did it. That's what he said earlier. To me, I see no difference. When I see the word permissible and I see the word in the King James, it's the same word to me. Everything is permissible for me. And then you said I could do what I want, and then another said this and that. Permissible means, what does permissible mean? I mean, permissible means exactly what each of those translations says. So that means basically the scripture, but what is the scripture trying to say?
He said all things are lawful unto me, in the King James.
What does permissible mean? Does that mean the same thing? Let's look that up if we have
As
to.
lawful.
It means permitted or allowed. It means permitted or allowed.
Law means it's according to the
Acceptable,
law.
basically.
It's according to the law.
Right. Permissible means what?
Permissible totally means that it's allowed. It means it's allowed. So it's considered to be acceptable because it does not break any laws or rules.
Right. And then so is it the same thing when it says everything is permissible for me?
What do you mean? Is it the same thing?
Beneficial? Because as we get through this whole word semantic situation, let's just get to what the Bible is actually saying at this point about food, which I've been trying to get to, and sex.
So just so that we understand, from the Black's Law Dictionary, lawful means not contrary to law, permitted by law. The police officer conducted, as an example, the police officer conducted a lawful search of the premises. Again, from the Black's.
Right. So So what does permissible mean?
Permitted by law. Right. According to the law. So he is. I'm doing a complete, just so you know, a complete opposite interpretation. But go ahead, my brother. I'm sorry.
So permissible means permitted by law, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And what did the King James said about the law? What everything is what?
All things are lawful unto me.
Right. So it's the same thing.
Permissible. We was just talking about the message. That's all.
Everything is permissible and everything is law. It's the same thing because you just read it from the book. That is permissible. That is law.
One is mentioning law. The other is saying I could do whatever I want.
Right.
He ain't saying that. He ain't saying that. He's not. Who's he coming at? He's coming at people that's trying to use the law, the Old Testament laws against him, right? Yeah, all those laws are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. Not all needs to be followed. Not all is beneficial, right?
Wow.
All things are lawful unto me, but I will not be brought under the power of many, right? People trying to say how exactly I gotta live or whatever. So anyways, that was
Right. And then it goes what?
Clapping back.
Then it says something about food for the stomach, right?
Meats for the belly and the belly for meats.
Right.
God
So
shall
these
destroy
are
both it
some
in
things
there.
that we just want to eat. We just want to go off and eat. We just want to do what we want to do, right?
Right.
And it also is pertaining to sexual immorality. It's the same exact thing. When you eat with the food, all the way to say it's the same exact thing when you're reading that. So what they're saying is that everything is permissible for me, but not everything is beneficial.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is your breakdown.
No, it's not my breakdown. My breakdown is this. My breakdown is basically that we think about sex in a certain way and we look at it in a certain way and all this stuff. But sometimes we even idolize our bodies when we are eating right. You know, but all the power is laid to God. I'm going to cut it short. I'm not going to go too long, but I'm just reading it from here. When that says everything is permissible to me, but everything is beneficial, is not beneficial. It shows us that we can't do what we want to do all the time, whether it comes to food and sexual, because our bodies is not our own. Our bodies were made by Christ, and our bodies are not our own to do what we want to with, no matter what it is. That was my point. We can move on. Sorry.
No need to be
No,
sorry. We
man.
having an
He was
open
good. He
discussion,
was
man.
good.
Like it's
Word.
good. Yeah, we having discourse. So
Mhm.
nah, it's all good. We are talking about this specific topic, and there's nothing
You
that
think
we
it?
cannot disclose or have a conversation about.
You think it could
What I'm
bring?
You know
trying
what I'm
to
saying?
say
So
is like if you're on your deathbed tomorrow, the last thing you're going to think about is food and sex.
Well,
I don't know. That's not true for
yeah.
everybody.
You're 97 years old, and you know your last minute of life is at the end. You're going to be thinking about food and sex, or you're going to be thinking about that next door that you're going to go through.
I
That's
think
the
Maybe.
a
I don't
question.
know.
Yeah, I think maybe an equally apt question would be, if you're on death row, what's one of the things you get? A last meal. If I was given a wish at that 97 years old, I might ask, yo, can I, if I could have anything, could I
no,
have, somebody I've always dreamt of and everything?
Reach
I
the
don't know.
top.
you had a
You,
good
you
life.
never
You
know.
had a good life. You're laying
Yeah.
on your deathbed, and you're in hospice, and you're thinking about your children. You're thinking about your wife. You're thinking about
Okay.
all the things you did right and did wrong. And this is it. This is it. This is not about somebody going to electrocute you and take your life. You're actually about to perish easily, like you're about to leave. I'm thinking what I'm going to think about if I believe in God is God. Where am I? What's the next step? Where am I going after? What's going, not exactly where I'm going, but what's going to happen when I close my eyes when my heart starts beating? I'm not thinking about the girl I boned last week or the steak that I'm going to eat before I get killed. I'm actually there at my deathbed where I'm dying of natural causes or whatever. I'm thinking about my life and what I did, maybe some of my regrets, but what I'm really thinking about is my time where I'm going to be with my Father. That's what I'm thinking about. So when you
Right. So
read that
you
scripture,
got to speak for you. Got,
little
but you in that context, Doc, you got to speak for yourself because it's hard for us to, unless we did a survey of people who are on their deathbed and what is their. It's hard for us to really come to a conclusion and say what people may be thinking because what
so
you may be
next,
thinking, what Curtis may be thinking, what
a
I may be
human
thinking
being
is
would be
completely different.
okay, all right. I hear you. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we don't have the research to back that up.
Research. You need research to know when you land on your deathbed. You need
No,
research.
not my deathbed. For the masses of
But
people.
I'm not talking about the masses. I'm talking about.
Oh, all right. You talking about us three?
No, I'm not talking about you either. I said because you told me that y'all was. If Curtis said that if he had a steak, if he was on the death row, he'd be thinking about the steak. You said you don't know what you'd be thinking. I know if I'm laying in the deathbed, and I know that I only have a couple hours. The doctors told me your heart is beeping, beep, 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 and I know my heart is about to stop any second. I know daggone well that I'm gonna think about my food in my stomach, and I'm not definitely gonna think about sex. I'm gonna be thinking about my next move. Like what's happening here? All right, I'm dead. Now it's time to move on. God, where am I? Where I'm gonna be? That's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking about stuff like that. And that's
Yeah, I don't know what I would be
Do you
thinking
think
like
it's
at this
do you
very
think it's
moment.
trivial? Whatever, if that's like what a
what.
person like what if you're a chef for like
Well, I
50,
think that
40
the
years of
scripture
your life?
explains it. I think that the
You know?
scripture explains where the power lies. I don't think that the power lies in the food. I don't think that the power lies in the sex. I don't think the power lies even when you work out. I don't think the power
Mhm.
lies in that. I think the
Mhm.
power lies in the power of God. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it's
Mhm.
eat all this different type of food, or you can work out. But once you work out, what are you working out for? Are you working out to gain muscle, to show people off, to idolize yourself? What are you working out for? Why are you doing it? I mean, are you doing it for Christ? Are you working out? Maybe a woman's walking across the street and she needs some help, or maybe you need to show or pick somebody up. Maybe you need to do everything should be done. Whether we eat, this is just what I think. How we eat, how we drink, when we have sex, to actually for the pleasure of God and not for just self gratification, because we just can't do anything. We just can't eat any food that we want to all the time. We just can't be having all different types of sexual things outside of marriage. It's not right.
Right. No, I dig
So
it.
when he talks about sexual immorality, when I read Corinthians, I read a lot about that when it comes to sexual immorality and food. It's a lot of stuff in Corinthians about that, in First Corinthians about that. That's all.
There is, man, from you had mentioned earlier too, First Corinthians 10 and Second Corinthians 8 as well goes a lot into that, as well as Romans, man, Romans 14. This is Paul, it's the same author, right? So he touches on these things a lot. Not the only, but definitely the main one that touches on these analogies with meat and with food, I should say, in general, and spirituality, not to mention, spiritual fornication and physical fornication, all that stuff, sexual immorality, as you say. As the verse said. And I just wanted to ask you two things. Soul Food, the movie, favorite scene. Um, that's one. And the second question is if you're familiar with verses such as if ye have excuse me, if ye have faith as the grain of a mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove yonder, and it shall be removed, right? I don't know if you are familiar with verses like that in Matthew
Mhm,
chapter 17, verse
mhm.
20. Well, the 21st verse, Matthew 17 and 21, it says, uh, but be sure, howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and by fasting, right? So now I'm just speaking about fasting wise and entering that into the conversation as far as fasting off of whatever type of food or food period for a certain amount of time. And there's other types of fast we know, but I'm honing in on particular the food fast. Do you think that you get hornier during those times? And you think that's like an extra temptation and that's a connection, physical as well as spiritual and chemical, between food and sex and all types of whatever Freudian things, concepts we could come up with, but do you think there's a connection there as well? As far as, you're increasing your faith, Christ said, if, going based off of that literally, uh, you can increase your faith through prayer and fasting, is one way that he says. So, yeah, I'm just curious if you think there's a connection there as far as sexual temptation goes during that fasting process.
Well, I think that the first part of the question was when she picked up the knife and was chasing the girl around the room.
Yo, was you listening, Donald? Could you still hear? What's your favorite scene? Soul Food, quick fast. Thank you, man. Doc, that was hilarious. That's yeah. Who's that? Vanessa Williams, right?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, light skin. Yeah, team light skin. All right, that's
Yeah, yeah, of course.
that's a great
Uh,
scene though.
I don't know. I think
But,
my favorite part was Big Mama after Big Mama passed away to keep the tradition going. Like them figuring out how to keep that tradition going after she was gone.
you mean Ahmad's deception,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I love. Go ahead, Martin.
No, and the love one. All right, what part you like?
I was just gonna say I love that scene and in particular, or that moment, but in particular the scene where they making the food. Terry comes, Vanessa Williams, Terry come. She I don't think is the greatest cook out of all of the sisters, but she gets to peeling the vegetables, and then you just see like the catfish getting laid out. I can't eat no more, but the catfish getting laid out, the freaking mac and cheese. It was yams. It was something else that I don't eat. I think peach cobbler. It made me want to eat peach cobbler, and I couldn't I don't think I can eat peach cobbler. I ain't a fan, but yeah, man, I love seeing the food. You know, I could look at food all day, food shows, Chopped, all that stuff. I've seen like almost every food show, like the competitions, and definitely the crazy, food documentaries and all of that.
Yeah. And the second
Can't
part.
hear you, Donald. Can't hear you.
Oh,
How does food changes one's mood? I'm
Word.
curious about that. Like, how does that work? Because I don't think that I've eaten something and I was feeling bad, but then when I ate something, it changed my whole perspective.
Think of folks with long COVID who still have yet to recover their sense of taste and their favorite meals,
Mm,
right? They've tried, they've gone and bought it, and yet still can't taste it. That for me,
mm,
if I couldn't taste mac and cheese again, bro, right? If I couldn't, oh man, if I couldn't
but
smell beefy onion, French beefy onion soup mix in my ground turkey or ground beef stroganoff, right? The texture of duck bacon, right? I'm about to go in, but yeah, just all of
yo,
that alone, that's a part of the pleasure. The
okay.
senses are being stimulated, all of that at once, man. Your olfactory, all five taste buds and whatnot, all being stimulated. So it's
Yo, that's interesting because I was thinking the other day you were
yeah,
here
yeah,
and I had a couple of brews and
yeah.
you took over the burgers that we were having.
Oh, right.
And I remember waking up and having this burger and it was very different. It had like a kind of salty taste to it, but it was good. It didn't have ketchup on it.
Right, right.
And I've never had a burger like that before. And
Hmm.
so in the honor of the memory today, I made a
Oh
burger
man,
and I
no man.
did it the same way, and it was hitting. It was hitting. It
Hey,
was hit. No ketchup.
that's what I'm talking
I
about,
put some
man.
butter on
Yo,
the
yup.
buns,
Treat that meat right. Hey,
yo,
yo,
and it was
but treat that
perfect.
meat right.
Hey, yo, pause.
But that's it though, man. I'm telling you, you focus on that and your bread is nice and taken care of. Take care of that bread. And I was like, yo, he said he had English muffins. Boom. I found the English muffins. Okay, let me boom, flap that on the butter, flip it, flap that on the butter, right? And get that cheese right. All of that is crucial. It's crucial. And we throw soul in the stuff, man. I don't care if it's the simplest of things. If I'm gonna make a grilled cheese, I'm gonna bust your head. I might still have American cheese on it because I think it's the best, but I'm gonna slip in some Yallsboro, right? I'm slipping some Yallsboro just because I, watched too much Devil Wears Prada, and
Uh,
yeah, that cheese is banging, it's, man, on the right
yo,
nice piece
and
of bread.
and I do have damn, I had a question and I
Oh,
just
Havarti cheese. Sorry, yeah, I had to slip in Havarti cheese too. Try that out.
Havarti cheese.
Yeah, you ever have Havarti? It melts really well, man. It's great for a grilled cheese.
No,
Yeah.
no, I haven't had Havarti cheese
If you
before.
really are anti-American cheese because you think it's fake, all that stuff, then you can do Havarti and Munster cheese, make you a banging grilled cheese sandwich and stuff. If you ever saw the movie Chef, if you ever saw the movie
Yep, I'm
Chef,
hearing you.
there's a great scene of John Favreau, who's also the director, making a grilled cheese for his son, right? And it's two nice pieces, I think, of like maybe raw bread and probably like 4 slices of cheese, maybe 5, right? Mad cheese, but the bread is thick and stuff. So, and it's on the butter and he's spinning it around and it's a great scene. Y'all can YouTube that Chef grilled cheese sandwich. It's tough. But yeah, Martin, you know who helped introduce and popularize mac and cheese in America?
no, man. Who's that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that question, but that's a good question. And I apologize. I was off
Yo,
for a minute
can
because the kids are trying. I'm trying to get these kids
Martin,
here.
do you have access to this man that I'm about to name and can Google him, his name, mac and
Wait,
cheese, or either one of y'all?
what was the question? What was the question, Kurt?
Do you know who introduced and popularized mac and cheese to the United States?
Probably the Germans, probably.
You said the Germany's at first?
Maybe German. Yeah, the German.
Yeah, no, I got
It's
you.
everything.
Wow,
James
this is
Hemmings.
crazy. No.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. You're right. There's a conflict of interest here that I
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
found.
Go ahead.
Okay. There's Thomas Jefferson
There you go.
and James Hemmings.
There you go. What's the connection?
James Hemmings was a chef for Thomas Jefferson. He was
There you
enslaved
go.
by Thomas Jefferson. He was a
He's what we
slave.
would call a White House chef today, or an executive house chef if that title existed, or
Ooh,
executive White
black
House chef.
fact. That's another black fact.
Black White House chefs. That's a whole topic, a whole
That's a shirt.
line.
I'm
Black
sorry.
White
That's a
House
shirt.
chefs.
That's a shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But he's one of
That
the,
is a
you
shirt.
could say one of our originals, and he introduced.
Wow.
So Jefferson was a Francophile, right? He loved
Wow.
French culture, and he sent James Hemmings over to France to stage for I think
Wow.
like a couple years. James Hemmings really didn't want to come back because he was technically free over there, right? Could be free over there. So Jefferson was like, yeah, it's time to. He really was pressing him in letters and stuff. Time to get your black A back over here. um, but yeah, the things he learned consisted of mac and cheese. He helped popularize ice cream, and he's not the only one in that regard. But I'm talking about in America, right? And the French technique of ice cream, which is pretty much close to our modern, even though we Americanized it, but modern way of eating ice cream. And what else? I don't know if it's French fries. There's a few things that James Hemmings helped introduce to American cuisine, American culinary tastes and taste buds.
Mhm.
So yeah, James Hemmings is great. He has a tragic ending. Um, as many of if
As
y'all don't,
many of
oh, I'm
us
sorry,
do.
we can't. If we don't know the name, well, Martin, I'm sure would know.
No, I may
What's the
not.
famous? Okay, what's the famous Hemmings name that you may know of? Thomas Jefferson's slave, who was named Hemmings.
I don't know, man.
No,
Yeah.
okay, my bad. Sally Hemings was
Oh, that's right.
yeah, Sally Hemings was his favorite in terms of mistresses
Thomas
go.
Jefferson's
And
favorite,
yep,
who he was
and
banging out.
that's right, in which we would call
She
statutory
was,
rape
I remember
today.
she was a light
That
skinned.
would be statutory rape today. That's rape.
She was young.
She was bad
R.
light skinned.
Kelly style.
He took her to France with him as well. She was light skinned.
Yeah, he didn't like my
James
brother.
Hemmings also was light skinned, maybe a little darker than her. The images that really we have a painting of him. I'm not sure it's actually him, but yeah, he was her uncle.
There's a movie out about her. A couple movies.
Okay.
There is
That British actress, what's her name? That played in a
Tandy Newton.
science fiction movie that I used to watch. I
Tandy
don't know.
Newton. Is it?
Yeah,
Is she fit? Light skin?
Chronicles of the Last Chronicles of
Maybe it's Tandy Newton. I'm not
yeah,
sure though, but I'm
yeah,
just taking
Chronicle
a
of Riddick.
wild
That
guess.
was one
If
of my
you
favorite movies. Last Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah.
The Last Chronicles of Riddick. Oh, okay. That's the type of stuff you recommended during Black
What?
History.
Riddick Bowe? Riddick Bowe?
No, he's
There's
recommending Vin Diesel, is he not?
the black girl that was in there.
Okay. I could have sworn
The
you said
two
the
black. It's a
Chronicles of
black
Riddick.
movie. It's a black movie. The Chronicles of Riddick is.
I thought he was gonna say Chronicles of Nadia.
Right. I
Chronicles of
I
Riddick.
don't know if you caught my sarcasm. I said, okay, all right, this is the type of stuff you recommended.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Yeah, I heard
It's
it.
a
Okay,
black
you right.
movie. It's a black movie. It's what's his name? You
You
don't.
sure that's the name of it? The Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah, you never heard. You know that. That's the one with what's his name? With
Vin Diesel?
Vin
Riddick
Diesel.
Bowe?
That is what you're talking about with Vin Diesel, right?
Vin Diesel, right? The Chronicles of Riddick. I said that wrong.
Nah. I thought you was gonna say Chronicles of Belle Biv DeVoe.
I'm just trying to understand how Chronicles of Riddick is a black movie, though.
Both of the stars are black.
You calling Vin Diesel?
Oh, Vin Diesel ain't black.
This is light skin stuff. You're taking it too far.
Oh snap! I thought Vin Diesel was black. Or maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. Maybe, man. Maybe I've been wrong tonight in a big way, so I don't know. He
Vin
could
Diesel.
be. That's something for you to look up.
Why don't you Google that? Maybe
I
he
ain't googling it. I thought he was Italian. Honestly, I thought the brother was Italian or something like that. But I don't know, man. I'll Google it. I did Google this quick fast. This is a James Hemmings documentary coming right behind you, Martin. Right. If y'all want to learn more about James Hemmings, You can, Google that documentary. James Hemings is Hemings, 1M, and the subtitle is Ghost in America's Kitchen. Ghost in America's Kitchen
Ooh, that
documentary.
sounds good. I'm gonna see if maybe I watch that tonight.
Yeah,
Ghost in America's Kitchen.
yes, a documentary recommendation for y'all. I think it could be found on what? It's on Amazon.
I'll tell you where it is right now. Oh
Mhm.
wow, James Hemmings. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
It's on Tubi. It's on
Oh, there you
Prime.
go. Can always count on Tubi, bro.
Uh,
That black stuff,
yeah,
black
it's
cinema.
on Amazon, and it is not on YouTube. But I will take a look at it. It's on. It is on YouTube actually. It's on
Okay,
YouTube.
okay.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch that tonight. Let me add that into um the ticker. Um, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So as we we still have a few more minutes before we roll out of here. Um, this is really interesting. I like Spiritual Sundays.
Yeah, man. Yes, I love how we flow, how we ebb, how we flow, man. And we go into some stuff. Um, yeah, I'm gonna share with y'all. Oh yeah, gotta go to the text message.
I gotta. I definitely
Me
got to
too.
roll out in a minute. How much time
Okay.
we
Maybe another 5 minutes. I'm just gonna recommend a couple books, y'all, on
got?
this
Yeah,
whole
do that.
topic,
I
right?
gotta book out in a second.
Okay. Did you want to say something then? Quick,
No, but
fast.
I
Okay,
think that this is
gotcha.
great. So I
Okay,
gotta.
great. So here's some book recommendations for y'all, right? I'd say the first one is The Black Church. This is our story. This is our song. I might have mentioned it earlier. That's by Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. And there's an entire PBS documentary based off that book, again called The Black Church. This is our story. As well as The Black Churches of Brooklyn. That is another. Um, and you could type these into the chat for me, Donald, if you can, or either one of y'all. But The Black Churches of Brooklyn. The Black Churches of Brooklyn is by Clarence Taylor, I think. What's the name? Clarence. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, Clarence Taylor. That's the Black Churches of Brooklyn. And the third one that I have for you is the 272. So all of these books are in some way, shape, or form related to Black history and Black religious history, Black theological history, and as well as some probably form of slave history and church history in America. So the 272 is, or the 272 is the families who were enslaved and sold to build the American Catholic Church. The 272 were the families who were enslaved and sold to build the American Catholic Church. And sold by who to
And
American Catholic
and
Church?
then
That's
what's
Georgetown.
what's the book that you just dropped?
The 272, the 272, or the one before that.
The 272.
Yeah, the one that I just said was the 272 by Rachel L. Swarns. Rachel L. Swarns.
How you spell that last name?
Swarns. And this is a very intriguing story, and I think prescient, prudent, and a great teachable moment, sort of a story, the 272, because they are one of the few groups of Black Americans who have received reparations for being enslaved. And they have received those reparations from Georgetown University, right? Because that's who sold them to the Catholic Church. So definitely great to go
Mm.
in on that. But this was, man, yeah, man, this was dope. We vibed on food, we vibed on breasts, breasts and chicken and actual breasts. Right. We connected the spiritual with the sexual, with the culinary, with the love, with the Bible, with the brothers, talking about the sisters and talking about marriage and all of that. Yeah.
Right.
Hey, so guys, as we close up this episode and this live, um, today was Spiritual Sundays. And in the bottom of that ticker, you'll see the 272 by Rachel L. Swarns. It's a book recommendation. Um, Martin and I will be traveling on Saturday. Martin's heading to Mexico, and I'm heading to Belize. But our podcast, guys, as we go forward, we're going to be doing these lives from Sunday to Friday. We'll take a 1 day break on Saturday, the Sabbath. Some may honor it, some may not. All good, doesn't matter. However, for us on Road to Legacy podcast, our
Excuse me.
objective is always to inspire, educate, influence all of you. As we travel in different situations and genres, different age group. It used to be the old man versus the young man podcast. Now to the far right of me is the younger man, which is Curtis Reed, Black Packer, aka Tall God. In the middle, you have Marty G on the track, Martin Small from Harlem. He calls it non-projects, but I call it the projects. And Donald Reed, BX all day, representing, living in Brooklyn. This was another incredible episode of Road to Legacy podcast, where our objective is always to inspire, educate, and influence. And gentlemen, that's all I'm going to say before we close out. Yes. I want you both to close out however you're going to do, and I'm going to be quiet.
Peace. I'm out.
Grace and peace, good people. George S. Crumb, inventor of potato chips, black man. John Young, inventor of buffalo wings, black man. That's just a couple. Grace and peace.
All right. Later.
Hey, Martin, I just want to say one more thing before we go. Why you got to peace out like Ed Norton from the Honeymooners, bro?
Nah, he got more of a Buster Scruggs thing happening right now. Everybody. Buster Scruggs meets Bass Reeves.
Bass Reeves?
Buster Scruggs meet Bass Reeves.
Bass Reeves.
He likes Bass Reeves. That's his man.
He clicked up real quick.
Yeah.
we gonna talk about you since you left so early now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, hey. Your cop background. No. Hey, why you call me a cop? Why you wait till I left? That's a cop out, man. Call me a cop. You wait till
he ain't gonna jump back in. We still live on IG. Guys, man. We thank y'all. Everybody who tuned in.
Yes.
Everybody who left a
comment. Make
sure
you put all the recommendations in the chat, all the book recs in the chat. The PBS documentary, The Black Church, the book, The Black Church, and Black Churches of Brooklyn. Now. I gave that Brooklyn reference because y'all know that's where I'm from. And used to be
Black Church doc. What was the other doc?
The other doc was James Hemming, A Ghost in the Kitchen. But the other books I was saying was The Black Church is a book is. The documentary is based off the book, so that's another book, right? That's all. And the other book was The Borough.
Borough.
What is it? Hold on, let me see. Brooklyn's Churches, something like that. Hold on.
Wait, and then I'm getting Ghost in America's Kitchen. That's the name of the other doc. I'm gonna try to watch that tonight.
Oh yeah, the James Hemming documentary.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The final book was The Black Churches of Brooklyn. I had mentioned that. The Black Churches of Brooklyn. Brooklyn used to be known as the city of churches. Our avenue, Church Avenue, is still to this day. Tons of churches. You could find 3 on the same block, 1 block, and just across the street, another 3. So so you could have so many churches within a short time span or time distance, that span of distance, whatever. Clearly, time ago. Yeah, man. So y'all got your book recs, y'all got your documentary recs, and just know that we have got a ton of inspiring, influencing, and educating to do for y'all throughout Black History Month, and we just getting started. Happy to vibe with y'all. We off the road, always on the road to legacy.
Yes, sir. We are always on the road to legacy, and this has been another great episode of Road to Legacy podcast.
And we will have this available. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, King. You finish it up. We will have this available.
Yeah, that's all. Nah, just have the Stone O hoodie available, 1739. Right. Largest rebellion, South Carolina, British North America, Road to Legacy podcast. All right, yeah, I can't do it. But yeah, man, we have a whole online shop coming, our website soon to be finished. But where you'll be able to find historical, political, cultural clothing. It's not just clothing, it's welcome to class.
And we also have a tour coming up by the great Curtis Reed.
The Black Packer, good people. Black Packer tour is February. Shooting for February 12th. But I definitely got to be on top of just the weather, making sure we just a little above 40 at the very least. And hopefully, yeah, that still goes, but it's going to be based out of Central Park. Y'all see that on social media and as well as getyourguide.com. But excuse me, we'll be checking out, of course, one of America's first freedmen's towns, Seneca Village.
And another thing too, guys, we want you to continue tuning into what it is that we do.
Yes.
Please follow us on YouTube, follow us on
Like
Instagram,
us, subscribe.
like us and subscribe on YouTube is very, very important, as you guys know. And also we have a Patreon account that if you guys want to see some unlimited content that is not put out to the general public, become a part of our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Road to Legacy Podcast. And we got a lot of stuff that's going to be coming to you soon. So with that being said, God bless y'all. Have a great night. Have a good start of the week. And we out.
Grace and peace, good people. Blessings.
And Stono.
Stono. Shout out to Stono, man.
Stono.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy
Jimmy
Black
Cato.
History Month.
Stono Rebellion, Jimmy Cato. All right, peace. Blessings, y'all. Love, bro.
Peace.